The second set of the day will be played on Neo Planet S. Photo Punch. Spawning up in the top right-hand position, nicknamed the Revolutionist. His name is Kim Taek-young, known as Bisu.
Well, his opponent also has a nickname for himself, the Hawkeye, the Phoenix of Messiah. Spawning as Blue Zerg on the left bottom position of the map, playing for CJ Entus. His name is effOrt. Currently has 1 kill.
This should be a pretty exciting game here because effOrt, he's been showing much more promise as EVP. His teammate Hydra has probably been helping him out a lot with that matchup as well. So I'd say pretty much, except for maybe Soulkey, effOrt and Hydra may be the 2 best Zergs in Pro League.
Roro?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Roro. That completely rode over my head there.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to deny the fact that effOrt and Hydra is good when it comes to Pro League.
After Roro, I think those two would be the next
After Roro and
best.
Soulkey, it's like effOrt, Zero, and Hydra. I think they're
all
a
around
really
the same
similar level.
I didn't include Zero from that list because we haven't seen him a lot recently. I'm wondering why Wunjin Stars hasn't opted to send him out more.
Well, it's like not seeing stats from KT Roaster because all the other players just play much better. And when they start fielding the new players for the first player, for example, if they send out, someone who hasn't been used much as someone like Bravo or even Light, they get to a point where it's like, oh, we got two matches left, and all we can use right now is SOS and Soulkey.
That's true. All right, looks like we have a hatchery first here from effOrt, and Bisu's going to go ahead and grab the Nexus first. Then he'll put down his Forge, Scout afterward, most likely. That Forge will go down as soon as that probe has the minerals to go ahead and do that. Spawning pool just starting for effOrt now. I'm curious to see, there's the Forge, if Bisu will try to punish that hatchery first if he scouts that with his probe. That's the question here. Will he go for it?
Well, usually it's easier to punish your opponent if the probe goes out as soon as the piling is taken out, but since the map is Neo Planet S, there's no reason for Protoss players to scout around in the beginning of the game. And also effOrt taking a... Whoa. Taking a relatively fast third base.
All right, so Bisu's going to scout this hatchery here. He knows the timing now. He's going to double check on that pool to see how far it is from being done. And then the question is going to be, all right, Bisu, what is your plan? Are you going to try to maybe cannon the third or the natural? Or are you going to let it slide and just do what your current plan was throughout the game?
Well, since the probe actually scouted out after the Forge, he can't make the pylon at the natural base because the hatchery is already finished and he's going to have Zerglings out in time. He could try to sneak the probe at the third base and try to counter up, but I'm pretty sure effOrt is well aware of the Forge timing and where the probe is right now.
So Bisu going to go ahead and scout that third base now, sees what's going on. He's not going to punch that at all. It's a bit too late for that now that the Zerglings have finished. So effOrt, he went for a very greedy build and he got away with it.
He got away for now, but we don't know what Bisu came out. We don't know what Bisu prepared for today. Remember that.
We don't know yet. We'll find out shortly. Don't worry, guys. Time moves forward, not backward.
57, 58.
It will slow down if you're in a black hole, though.
That is true.
It's like a scientific fact, guys. That's not any hocus pocus. That's actually real. Time slows down in a black hole.
Yeah, which is quite an interesting fact. But this is StarCraft, and
they removed black hole.
They removed it, so.
Yeah, so sorry, guys. You won't see any black holes in StarCraft2.
So Bisu just opening up pretty standard right now. I expect him to go Stargate as soon as possible. As soon as he has a 150 gas and 150 minerals. There we go. effOrt just Zergling up right now. 8 Zerglings out on the way.
Well, you know what? He knows that Bisu is the kind of player that will pressure early on with the Zealot and the 2 Stalkers. That's something that we do see a lot from him against Zerg players. And forcing out those early Zerglings is always great from the Protoss side because it prevents the Zerg players from droning up as heavily as they normally would.
And effOrt also getting a perfect scouting inside the main base before the Overlord gets taken out.
Well, it will go down, though.
It will go down.
But mini victory for Bisu.
Mini victory for Bisu, but mini victory for effOrt also, as he saw the Stargate as soon as it was put down.
That's certainly worth it for effOrt to lose that Overlord. The scouting information, sometimes it's more useful than having sort of specific units out at once. And Zergling's trying to get a surround on the Zealot here. Looks like it's going to fall down. Bisu needs to retreat with the Stalker. Nice control from him, actually, sniping down 2 more Zerglings before they run away.
Yeah, do remember the Zerglings and the Stalkers have the same speed, so as long as the Stalker does not get surrounded, you could try to micro as much as possible with the single Stalker.
Right, got some Spore Crawlers on the way here to defend against the Stargate tech that effOrt scouted. Bisu grabbing his first Phoenix right now, also researching that +1 attack, putting down a Robo behind this as well. Looks like that's the second Phoenix, excuse me, that's coming out. And we have a layer on the way with a Roach Warren from effOrt's side.
Yeah, so if you go for this type of play from Protoss, if you open up Stargate, the follow-up right away is going to be either 3 more additional gateways or Robo if you want to play a macro game. Seems like Bisu wanted to get the Colossus out a little bit earlier than the Gateway army, and that's still safe to do as long as you do not push out on the map and lose too much army.
So the Phoenix is scouting around here. They're just going to move around, see if they can spot any units to catch. 3 additional gateways going up for Bisu. Looks like the Phoenix want to try to kill off this first Queen here. We have a 3rd Phoenix joining the fight here. Will they be able to lift up in a proper position? That Spore Crawler is just barely in range. The Queen, though, it will go down.
Yeah, against 1 Spore Crawler, if it gets planted a little bit late with 3 Phoenixes, you could take out a Queen relatively easy.
Yep, certainly can. And then we'll have to see if one of the other Queens is not fully being monitored here. Yep, he's trying to scare it away. Perfect.
That's perfect, because now he could lift and get the Queen outside from Spore's range.
That's not what they want to show right now, but getting that Queen out of the range of the Spore in order to kill it off is just a smart move from Bisu.
Well, there you go. No Queen inside the main base.
So that answers that question. Right?
So behind this Aspire on the way for effOrt, Bisu is going to scout that, and even if he scouts it, he needs to make sure if his opponent is making Corruptors or Mutas.
That's true. That's a very important distinction to make here. The Zergling count getting pretty high here. He has got 22 in production. The Roach speed as well, about to complete here. Bisu's +1 attack just completing as well. So the 3rd base, it's going to be under heavy fire quite soon here from effOrt.
Zerglings.
Setting a lot of Zerglings over there. Bisu, he needs to be prepared for the Zergling and Roach. It looks like it's going to be a double attack, 1 at the natural, 1 at the main.
Now, Bisu, he has enough Zealots and Sentries over here to defend against the Zerglings, but does he have enough units back at the natural to defend against the Roaches?
He's got that Mothership Core, so as long as he micros that properly, he should be able to defend pretty easily here. And uh-oh, the Roach is getting into the main base. Big mistake from Bisu here. He should have had a sentry there at the 3rd base. At the same time, effOrt trying to take down this 3rd. It won't go down, though. The problem, though, is Bisu is going to be losing a lot of workers in his main and natural. The first Colossus is out, and the Roaches die in the natural. There are still a few in the main base, but it looks like they'll be able to get cleaned up by Bisu.
Actually, Bisu didn't lose as much as we thought he would at this point. Behind us, there's 7 Corruptors out on the way as soon as effOrt saw the Colossus coming out, and Infestation Pit being thrown down right now.
Yeah. Also, supply-wise, at this point in the game, generally the Zerg starts to get really far ahead, but effOrt not too far from his Protoss opponent.
Do remember, he just threw away around like 8 Roaches and a couple of Zerglings, trying to harass both locations at the same time. So there has to be, some gap between the Zerg player and the Protoss player, but it's not going to be huge at this point.
Bisu still has 54 workers right now. effOrt up to 69. He's also getting that 4th hatchery as well. Bisu still has his Phoenix around the map that he can use to harass and scout as well. We haven't seen them being used too much since earlier on in the game.
Well, this is still looking scary for Bisu because now he has 1 Colossus out, but his opponent is pushing out with 9 Roaches and a couple of Zerglings. He does have a nice number of Stalkers, but he needs to make sure the Colossus does not get taken out.
That's the key unit here. Bisu chronoing out another Colossus at this point from the looks of things. This Observer will scout everything, and I feel like effOrt, he has just not enough units to really engage Bisu too cost efficiently here. Like, he could kill off the Colossus, but then he'd probably lose most of his ground army, if not all of it.
He would actually lose the game if he tries to go for the Colossus, especially since the Roaches are going to die to the Stalkers and the Force Fields, and Bisu's going to push out right after.
All right, we have the Corruptors trying to chase away the Phoenix here. The Phoenix are a lot faster, so it's pretty hard for them, it's pretty hard for them to die to these Corruptors here.
And it's also a little victory for Bisu because he knows where the Corruptors are, so he knows where to position his Colossus inside the main base. We do have 5 Swarm Hosts out on the way, however.
That's also +1 ranged attack about to finish up for effOrt. He's getting his +1 air attack as well. Bisu getting that +2, going for blank. As long as Bisu has enough time to prepare for this unit composition, he should be okay, but he needs to get that critical mass of Colossi out, and he should start thinking about going down that Templar tech path.
Yeah, I'm also I'm also surprised that he's not adding in few Voidways in this mix. I mean, he has a Minerals to do so, and just adding in few Voidways is nice against the Corruptors. It delays the Colossus from being taken out, and sometimes the number of Voidways can actually take out the Corruptors.
Yeah, he has to get a critical mass of them out, though, because if effOrt gains wind that there's a few Voidways on the way, he's just going to go in there and snipe them off before they can hit that critical mass.
Yeah, so just delaying the push from effOrt and also putting the Corruptors out of position is really nice play by Bisu at this point. By effOrt is not waiting. He's slowly pushing towards the third base, and Bisu also pushing out.
Bisu, I think he doesn't realize where his opponent's army is right now. He's going to probably see these swarm hosts soon and immediately move back and try to defend here. I love this leapfrogging tactic by effOrt. At the same time, Bisu wants to press forward, realizing that his opponent effOrt is going to attack him, so he moves back. He does have a Colossus there at his natural, but he's got to handle this perfectly. He's got a pretty strong army supply, 177 to 185. The blink is done, +2 very close to completion as well. Some of the swarm hosts getting lifted up here, but are being chased away by the Corruptors. Looks like effOrt, he doesn't want to engage here. The army supply is pretty impressive for Bisu right now, and effOrt actually uncharacteristically supply blocked.
And Bisu also doing a very nice job scaring away the Corruptors from getting the Colossus. You saw the blink stalkers on the bottom side of the map, and it kept blinking to the left side of his main army just to scare away the Corruptors one by one. But behind this, we have Greater Spire.
The Greater Spire is on its way here. We also have Overlord speed being researched. Kind of late in the game, but better late than never, I suppose. It's interesting that he's going for the Broodlords right now because, well, I mean, we don't see those generally in Heart of the Swarm.
Well, do think about this. His opponent has a lot of Stalkers, and those Corruptors are going to get taken out easily, but he also knows that his opponent, Bisu, is not getting any air units out right now. So those Corruptors, eventually, they're going to be useless, and turning them into Brewers, it's going to be a fantastic choice for him.
All right, looks like we have a big engagement here. The Swarm Hosts the Locusts aren't really doing too much damage here. Nice force fields from Bisu. Can he get a few more to scare those units away? Does not look like it. Bisu blinking forward, going to try to snipe off a few of these units if possible. They're rejoining with the main bulk of his army. He does have an observer, so he can kill off the Swarm Hosts here. I love the leapfrogging tactic that effOrt's trying to do here, but the control from Bisu is just too good. He's not losing many units against effOrt's army.
The key point is that the Stalkers were always in fantastic position, and he saved 3 of the 4 Colossus in the back. Behind us, yes, the Brewlords are out of the way with the Greater Spire finishing up, but this timing push by Bisu is so strong.
That's true. He's got so many Stalkers in the mix here. As long as he micros them properly, he should be able to keep the bulk of his army alive. The Colossi do go down, but the problem is, where are the roaches from effOrt? All of his units are getting obliterated. Look at the supplies, 145 to 163. Bisu's still behind, but not by a lot. He's cut out most of effOrt's army here. He's going to be able to snipe down this third base as well. It looks like he's going to be pushed back for now, but we have 7 Broodlords on the way for effOrt here. If Bisu doesn't scout this and get Tempest out to counter them in time, then this game could go into a downward spiral for Bisu.
Well, at least even if the initial Brewlers come out, Bisu is going to have enough Stalkers to scare away the main army from effOrt, and look at the Zealot run by at the 6 o'clock position.
Nice harassment by Bisu. He may actually just be able to, nope, there's a lot of units there that should be able to save effOrt in time. Nice attempt from Bisu, but that's actually not going to really do much economic damage. We have a 4th base on the way for Bisu, getting a 2nd robotics as well as the +3. Colossus continue to be in production. We have Infestors on the way for effOrt here.
I'm just really surprised that Bisu is only counting on the ground army, because he's not expecting any Greater Spire from his opponent, and this is going to hurt him a lot in the long run as 7 Brewlers are out on the way. effOrt is trying to stabilize on 3 bases, and now Bisu finally scouts what his opponent is going for.
All right, he sees the Broodlords here. That's still a very impressive Stalker count. It's going to be hard to deal with, and blinking forward, trying to snipe off one of the Broodlords. Not going to work, though. And are we going to see a fleet beacon from Bisu here? That's what I would love to see in this situation. He needs to get the Tempest, or we can't properly handle this army composition.
Well, Bisu's just trying to use only Stalkers at this point to deal with the Brewlers, and against 11 Brewlers, it's gonna be really hard unless you take out all the ground army, and then the Blink Stalkers do a lot of damage against the Brewlords.
And the issue is that there's still some Roaches in this mix. There's the Swarm Host, and there's also the Infestors.
The Roaches, you know, they're okay. You know, you could ignore them and go for the Brewlords. but the Swarmos is the biggest problem. So look at this, nice snipe on the Infestors.
That actually was a humongous lead for Bisu to gain here. And
remember, the Brewlords are slow, so they're slowly creeping back towards the natural, but Bisu already has fantastic position at the natural.
The Infestors and Roaches aren't with that main Infestor Broodlord army. Bisu pressing forward into the natural here. It looks like he's going to go ahead and back out after dealing some damage here. He doesn't want to lose his army to this engagement here. The probes off the mineral line, strangely, trying to attack that expansion over there. We have a Warp Prism on the way, but still no Tempest Tech for Bisu.
Bisu doesn't have enough minerals to actually make units at the right bottom side, so he is going to lose the Nexus.
That's what it looks like.
Actually, effOrt not paying attention, he should snipe it right there.
Oh yeah,
he should snipe it.
He's not paying attention. effOrt is going to allow a Nexus survive with 41 health, and the probes are killing off this expansion here in the bottom right. The issue with effOrt's army is that it's completely immobile, and Bisu is being completely opposite, very mobile. Nice. Fungals go down on this Stalker Death Ball here, and it's starting to get torn apart. Bisu has to get out of there, but the problem is the Fungals, they're tearing apart this army. The Colossus will go down as well. Bisu, he needs an answer for the Infestors, for the Broodlords, but he's not building anything but Stalkers.
Alright, we do have a 5th Nexus on the way on the left top corner of the map. Bisu just trying to use the mobility that he has, trying to use that as an advantage, takes down the hatchery at the right bottom side, and keeping effOrt only down to 3 bases, but at this point he only has 1 mining base, so Bisu doing a nice job. But, you know, the play style that Bisu always goes for, he tries to not engage into the Zerg army, and what this pretty much creates is a base race scenario. That's the thing that we saw in his game against Shine last time on Belshire Vestige.
I don't know, we did see that. The problem is the Broodlord count, it's too high to be ignored now. If Bisu can't use some Tempest...
Well, he needs to go for a base trade.
That's what he's going for at this point. He's going to be able to snipe down the Stalkers, the Hatcher here. Can he get the Greater Spire as well? That would be a definite bonus to him attacking this expansion over here. effOrt doesn't even care. He's just going to continue attacking here, and... Bisu, he's not attempting to make any type of counter to the Swarm Host or the Infestors or the Broodlords.
I don't know if this is like Bisu's concept in PvZ, where he pretty much tells himself that he's going to win the game no matter what if he goes for base race against Broodlords. But he loves going for this for some reason. I don't know exactly why. If he got the air units out, he would have actually won the game a little bit easier, given the fact that he pretty much kept his opponent down to 3 bases throughout the whole game.
Bisu now supply blocked. His income is starting to dwindle. The same can be said for effOrt as well, but effOrt, he has a much superior army at this point. When you get into a situation like this where you're down the 1 base, you don't have a lot of units, it's hard to attack into your opponent's main army. Units like the Infestor and the Swarm Host become much more useful.
So with Bisu playing on another PvC, we are going to have another base race. But do remember, there's a lot of Spine Coils right there, but Bisu already has 2 Colossus, and the Brewlords are out of position. effOrt, he does have 600 minerals saved up, but where are the drones? The drones need to start splitting around the map and start building random extractors or random hatcheries around the map. Same can be said for Bisu. He needs to start saving up the minerals. He needs to start building pylons around the map to make sure that the Brewlords cannot get there on time.
Bisu does have a lot of buildings at this expansion in the top left, but the main bulk of effOrt's army is starting to head over there. There's a few Templars, Stalkers, and the Militia Corps over in that location. And there's still a Warp Prism on this map. Bisu not supply blocked. He's actually ahead of supply over his opponent here.
Well, I don't know if effOrt actually saved some drones. There we go. effOrt finally saving some drones at the right bottom side, but Bisu also only sending a few Stalkers at the right bottom side right now.
So it's still a base trade scenario. effOrt rebuilding a hatchery up at Bisu's old 3rd base. And
yeah, well, both players are saving up a lot of minerals right now. Bisu also needs to start building some buildings around the map right now. If not, then he can actually lose the game if the Brewers get to the left top position. He cannot engage into the army.
He can. He doesn't have any observers left either, so he won't be able to snipe down any of those Swarm Hosts, which is a pretty big deal, considering it's a kind of a base race scenario. Both players actually have a solid amount of resources. The Stalkers over here not being microed. There we go. Bisu does save one of them. He's going to move over here and try to kill off this
Bisu, where are your probes? Because the left top position is under fire, that means there's only main base left for Bisu. He needs to start... right now the best possible scenario is he builds a Nexus inside effOrt's main base and builds another one on the right side of the map so that it's going to be hard for effOrt to actually take it down.
Trying to kill off this hatchery here. He's going to lose a lot of stalkers. And doing so here, effOrt building another hatchery as well.
He does cancel it, however, since the hatchery was not finished.
I think Bisu, with the amount of stalkers he had, could have actually killed the Broodlords in that position.
Now there's only one extractor and one hatchery left for effOrt, but Bisu, all he has is okay, he did rebuild the Nexus on the left bottom side. This is really nice. He needs to send the probe to the right side, build a Nexus over there, and possibly build one in the middle of the map, but Bisu doesn't know where the hatchery is right now.
He doesn't know where that hatchery is. The thing is, effOrt can just sit on the space over here now and just use changelings and free units that are constantly spawned to kind of move around the map and figure out where his opponent is. Bisu, what he needs to do in this scenario is start picking off lone units, and he has to be as cost efficient as possible because the Zerg player by nature makes free units with his buildings, and it looks like Bisu making some type of area unit out of that Stargate.
Void Ray.
Void Ray.
But it's not going to finish.
It's not. I'm still curious why Bisu didn't go for the Tempest after seeing the Broodlords.
I guess he was thinking he had enough stalkers and his opponent had too little resource to actually, you know, force a fight. But look at this, knowing that the Broodlords are out of position, he's going to try to go for the 12 o'clock, but there's already too many swarmers over there and no detection. So he's going to try to blink into it, try to go for the hatchery.
He's going to go for the hatchery. There's no way it's going to work this time around, though. There's just way too many units for effOrt. Bisu GG's. effOrt showing a very solid Zerg versus Protoss style. Not afraid to go for the Broodlords. Bisu, disappointing that he didn't try the counter Infested Broodlord composition with the Heart of the Swarm units like the Tempest or getting the Templars in his army mix earlier.
You know, this is like playing a console game. You got to the final boss, except you don't know how to play against the final boss. As Bisu, he had a fantastic early game, mid game, but his late game lacked the air units to deal against the Brewers, and that actually cost him the game. Going for the base race scenario, given the position that Bisu was in, nice decision, but it just didn't work out for him.
Indeed. All right, guys, the score 0-2. CJ taking a strong early